Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 10. Today we will explain about frame factor basic concept. Before we begin, let me introduce my group. My name is Widia Astuti and my partner Teri Restia Kasela. The first explanation will be explained by me. I will explain about knowledge frame factor basic concept. It is possible, so things cool without some kind of frame. I read in this book This Holding Sociality, a fundamental critique of schooling. On the dam, schools are based upon the spurious hypothesis. The learning is the result of curricular teaching. But yet was forget to imagine an alternative institutional frame that's intended to frame learning for a better future. Confront, moreover, with Anderson box below of school by a new frame. School as a phenomenon is associated with frames of an abused nature, such as curricula, goals, digit, group of pupils, time, economic, and personal research. Frame factors are defined as those factors that influence curriculum development in its environment and outside of the parent institution. Internal frame factors are those factors that influence curriculum development and are within the parent institution and the program itself. Most nurse educators work in an established academic setting or in a healthy care agency that has a program for staff development and client education. Curriculum development activities usually related to the revision of the educational program based on feedback from staff, client, student, faculty, administration, alumni, and customer of the program participant and graduates. It is rather infrequent that new programs are tried. Whether curriculum development involves a new program or revision of an existing curriculum, program planner and faculty must evaluate both internal and external frame factors that affect the curriculum, their impact on the current program, and what role they play in role-casting the future. The first step in curriculum development for faculty, the program planner, is to examine the environmental and human system factors that influence the curriculum. These factors can be organized into two major categories: external and internal frame factor. Okay, I think enough. The next material will be explained by Teri Restia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Teri Restia Kasela. Okay, I will continue the explanation from Widia. Two frame perspectives. Frame perspective emphasize various restrictions upon individual and collective social actors, restrictions that also can be used to manage actors. Also, frame perspectives are often used to contextualize action and to a certain degree explain why actors behave as they do in school and educational research. The frame concept often used to show restriction upon the school and the individual actors. Usually, the frames apply to different research time, the group for pupils, the teacher competence, speech, organization, rules, curricula, and difference. Steering documents such as laws and ordinances and will in what follows be illustrated by the frame factor perspective. The frame factor perspective of Dahlop and Laugren. Perspective of Dahlop. The development of the frame factor perspective starts with Dahlop's 2967 reanalysis of educational research. Niels Erik Spencer's 2962 thesis, which indicate that one shouldn't fear my decreasing knowledge standard, as cited in Laugren 2984 p. 69s. A consequence of the new 9-year compulsory school that in the 2960s was gradually replacing the old school in Sweden. The Dahlop reanalyzing focus on intervening variables between teaching and knowledge in pupils in both the and new school, more precisely the composition of the pupils group, the time spent on teaching, and the actual lack for proper individualized teaching media in the new school. Perspective of Laugren. By broadening the frame factor perspective, Laugren 2981 also criticized educational research that rests on the view that teaching leads to the learning of the state goals. A critique clears the way for both an educational sociological perspective on the relation between educational and society and the same time for an empirically oriented research that it based on. That concerning the educational process as it exists in reality, p. 33 for against that background. Laugren 2161 gives a more precise definition of frame factors. Those factors which are determined outside the teaching process and hence outside the control of teacher and student. p. 36. One shouldn't fear my decreasing knowledge standard, as cited in Laugren 2984. P 69S. A consequence of the new 9-year compulsory school that in the 2960 as was gradually replacing the old school in Sweden. The dialogue reanalyzing focus on intervening variables between teaching and knowledge in pupils in both the and new school, more precisely the composition of the pupils group, the time spent on teaching, and the actual lack for proper individualized teaching media in the new school. Perspective of long-range. By broadening the frame factor perspective, Lagrange 2981 also criticized educational research that rests on the view that teaching leads to the learning of the state goals. A critique clears the way for both an educational sociological perspective on the relation between educational and society and at the same time for an empirically oriented research that it based on. That concerning the educational process as it exists in reality, p. 33 for against that background. Lagrange 2161 gives a more precise definition of frame factors. Those factors which are determined outside the teaching process and hence outside the control of teacher and student. P 36. Okay, I think enough. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.